When thinking about starting out a collection of ancient coins, it's just inevitable not to think about ancient Rome. It's kind of a magic experience to imagine what these coins went through. Maybe that denarius was once at a legionary's pocket, or maybe your coin was used as an entrance fee for one of Rome's many bathhouses. The coolest thing is, they minted so many of them, tons of coins have reached our days. And even better, you don't need to be as rich as a Roman senator to be able to afford one. Since we've seen affordable Greek coins before, it's about time we have a look on how to start your Roman collection. Let's go! Welcome back everyone. Today, we're gonna have a look at some of my suggestions on how to start a collection of Roman coins, even if you only have a limited budget. We're not gonna be looking at any denarius of Julius Caesar, nor any coins of Augustus or fancy pieces of Nero. No, but that doesn't mean we aren't able to find fantastic pieces with high levels of artistry and tons of really fascinating history behind them. Let's jump straight into our first theme. These are provincial Roman coinage. The Roman Empire was a massive state, and even if Rome was an enormous city, it was still only one city and couldn't mint coins for the entire empire. So what happened then was the establishment of provincial mints. Different to the official imperial mints, these were special authorizations given by the emperor for certain regions to mint their own coinage, whether to facilitate trade with bordering states or to facilitate the internal commerce of that particular region. The eastern parts of the empire, being particularly rich, had a very vibrant commerce, and many mints were established. So we're gonna have a look at two coins today, from the second and third largest cities in the empire after Rome itself. Let's start by looking at this bronze piece from Emperor Tiberius, minted in Antioch between 31 and 32 AD, so right around the time of the crucifixion of Christ. The obverse legend is mostly worn, but it would read Ti Caesar Aug Tr Pot 33 Tiberius Caesar Augustus Tribunicia Potestas 33, or Tiberius Caesar, Emperor with tribune powers for the 33rd year. On one side, we can see the bust of Tiberius, and on the other, a laurel wreath, symbol of imperial power, and the letters SC, that stands for Senatus Consultum. It's very common to see SC on bronze coinage, imperial and provincial. This signifies that by decree of the Roman Senate, this coin was to be accepted as legal tender, even if it didn't have any precious metal in it. So let's head over to Alexandria, the second biggest city in the empire and capital of the province of Egypt. I've said earlier that there wouldn't be any fancy coins of Nero, but I lied. This is indeed a coin of Nero in the affordable range. This is a tetradrachma, very chunky coin weighing around 15 grams of low-grade silver, worth 4 drachmae. On one side, we can see Nero's bust wearing a radiate crown, with the legends in Greek, which translate to Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, his full name. The reverse features an eagle with a palm branch, the symbol of Jupiter, or Zeus. Very typical design on coins from Egypt since the Greeks ruled over the region, representing the authority and the power. And in the legends, once again, we have in Greek autokrator, or autocrat, emperor, leader, basically the boss. Egyptian coins also had the neat feature of marking the regnal year the coin was minted. In this case, the number 12, which indicates the coin was minted between 65 and 66 AD. It's a pretty interesting feature that let us pinpoint the exact year in our calendar where a coin was minted. So let's move into another niche of very affordable Roman numismatics, which are the double denarius or Antoninianus of the 3rd century. This was a time of inflation in the Roman world. where more and more coins had to be minted with less and less silver to pay for the many expenses of the military. As a result, not only vast numbers of these coins were minted, but also many were hoarded due to the troubled times. Unfortunately for the owners of these coins, they never really came back to retrieve their pieces. Fortunately for us, they came to our days in abundance. Collecting a set of Antoniniani gives us a very clear glimpse of the debasement of the Roman coinage throughout the years. They start as very respectable silver coins, but quickly degenerate into tiny little lumps of metal with less than 2% silver in them, if any. We'll have a look at both extremes of this debasement process. So let's go over the year 246, to the reign of Emperor Philip, where we have this pleasant looking coin of around 48% silver, minted in Rome. Little over 4 grams and a half, and a pretty well executed bust. We can see his closely cropped hair and beard, the typical cut for the military, as a lot of emperors by that time came through the ranks of the army. The legend reads, Imp M. Iul Philippus Og, or Imperator Marcus Iulius Philippus Augustus. The reverse features Felicitas, the goddess of happiness, holding a caduceus, the symbol of commerce, and a cornucopia, the symbol of abundance. The legend refers to Philip's titles: PM, TRP, 3, Cos, PP, Pontifex Maximus, High Priest, Tribunicia Potestas for the 3rd year, Consul, and Pater Patriae, Father of the Nation. A mere 22 years later, in 288, under the reign of Gallienus, the Antoninianus would be reduced to this, a tiny 2-gram slug of 2% silver. The full legends won't even fit on the flan. Since there was basically no more silver to remove, they had to skip on base metal itself. This coin was minted in Mediolanum, modern-day Milan, and it was produced in very, very high numbers to pay for the legions at the border up north. You can find this coin for very cheap on any ancient coin dealer, and you don't really have to overpay for these. On one side, we can see a much less refined bust of Gallienus with the legends Gallienus Og. As simple as that, there wasn't enough space. And the reverse features the goddess Concordia holding a cornucopia with the legends Concor Og, or the harmony brought by the emperor, which, considering by that time the emperor was split between 3 separate factions, I think this can be considered fake news. So by the year 295, under the reign of Emperor Diocletian, the Antoninianus had recovered some of its size and purchasing power, but the situation had deteriorated to a point something had to be done. There was just too many pieces around, and one coin simply would have a minuscule purchasing power. Diocletian then unified all the mints of the empire under a unified new standard we call today as late Roman coinage. These were minted from 285 to the end of the empire, and were also victims of debasement and diminishing size, resulting in massive mintage numbers. They are by far the most common on Roman coins. Even if you have a budget of, let's say, 20 euros a month to buy coins, you can still, with time, build a collection of these, and a very sizable and respectable one. We're not talking about bad quality pieces. So let's have a look at an earlier example, still of respectable size, and a later, debased example. The first one is a follis of Emperor Licinius, co-emperor with Constantine the Great. This coin is already a reduced version of the original follis, but at 26 millimeters and 5 grams, it's much better than the previous Antoninianus we've seen. This one still conserves some of the silvering it originally had, and the craftsmanship has improved a little bit. On the obverse, we see Licinius' bust and the legend Imperator Licinianus Licinius, Pius Felix Augustus. The reverse features a somewhat cartoonish and skinny Jupiter, holding a thunderbolt and a staff. The legend, Jovi Conservatori, asks for Jupiter's protection over his reign, which didn't turn out really well for him. And then we have this tiny coin minted some 35 years later, illustrating the dramatic debasement these coins suffered as well. The closer we get to 476 AD, the final collapse of the Western Empire, the cruder and smaller coinage gets. But that doesn't mean it has to be boring, and I'll show you guys. I've picked this particular piece for its historical significance. This is a posthumous coin, that is, a coin celebrating the life of a deceased emperor, in this case, Constantine the Great. We can see his veiled bust and the legend Divi Constantinus Piti Og Divus Constantinus Pater Augusti, father of the current emperors. If you know how a typical Roman coin looks like, this coin doesn't deviate from the ordinary. A previous emperor, deified by the current ones, was very normal. But once we go to the reverse, things get interesting. Now, Constantine was the first openly Christian emperor, and here we have the hand of God stretching towards him while he rides his chariot. This piece is a clear example of early Christian symbology, deeply mixed with pagan iconography. Constantine is depicted as a deified being, something clearly pagan and not Catholic at all. And on the reverse, he's riding the ancient chariot of Apollo. All of that while being received on heavens by a monotheistic god. Seems like the designers couldn't really make up their mind if they wanted to depict a Christian scene or a pagan motif. So you know what? Let's do both. So as you guys can see, there are tons of coins of tons of different types out there, and everyone is able to build a collection of ancient Roman coins fairly reasonably. I recommend having a look at my guide on how to look online for the best prices of coins, and do your research and look for the kinds of coins you want to collect. Combine the knowledge of these two videos and plan your collection accordingly. And as always, knowledge is power. In the video description, there will be some book recommendations on Roman coinage, which can also help to get an idea of what's out there and help making your decisions on how to plan a collection. So you go out there, do your homework, and start your Roman collection.